give everybody about 1 more minute to find their seats, okay? Okay. Is that just about everybody coming in? It is? Okay, great. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our 42nd annual Haston Hebrew Academy of Indianapolis High Life Awards Dinner. We're very proud and happy that our honorees are two exceptional people, Benton and Gigi Martz, two of the nicest people. I'm sorry, Gigi! Benton and Sam. Gigi's nice too. And Sam's Do you forgive me, Sandy? Well, I did want to recognize Gigi Felsher as our chairman of our dinner this evening, so that's good. So we're very happy to welcome everyone here on behalf of the Board of Directors and Haston family. And just a few housekeeping details. First of all, I'd like to ask everyone to please turn off or silence their cell phones. So I'll give you a minute to do that. At this time, I would like to recognize the most integral part of our school program, and I'd like to call on all the teachers and the staff members to please rise. So if you'll do that, please, we would appreciate it. Right now, I would like to call upon Rabbi Tzuriel Club and Mr. Nathaniel Edry to come forward and to lead us in the two national anthems, the Star Spangled Banner and Hatikvah. So please come forward.
Welcome to this very special event. The Parshiat HaShavua, the weekly Torah portions that we read during the summer season, are taken from the book of Bamidbar, the book of Numbers. I've always been intrigued by the imagery of the encampment of the Jewish people, millions of Jews, under the banner of tribal distinctions in the vast wasteland of the Sinai Desert. To be more precise, they camped in 3 concentric circles. The inner circle, the Machaneh Shechina, is where the tabernacle was. Surrounding it was the Machaneh Leviyah, the Levite camp. And finally, the external circle was flanked by the 12 tribes of Israel. The eastern flank with the tribes of Yehudah and his camp, the southern flank with the tribe of Reuven and his group, the western flank with the tribes of Ephraim, and finally the northern flank with the tribe of Dan. the Talmud offers two divergent opinions about the way the Jews marched, which design and shape they used. One is, Kasher Yahanu Ken Yisa'u. In the very same cloverleaf formation, they camped and they marched. And the other is they marched Kikara, in a line formation, with Judah in front, Dan in the very back, and in the center the families of Levi and the tabernacle. How odd that the most holy object, the Mishkan, the portable sanctuary, was somewhat hidden, embedded within, rather than front and center. The Yalkut Me'am Lo'ez offers a mashal, a math parable, which I'd like to share with you this evening to explain this design. It is known as Mashal HaEfes, the parable of the number 0. It is most appropriate because one of the areas in which the Haston Hebrew Academy shines is in the teaching of mathematics. Not only are most of our 8th grade graduates in fact taking geometry before they leave elementary school, but we have for the very first time next year a group of 7th and 8th graders who are taking Algebra 3, 4, and Pre-Calculus. Once again, we have a 5th grade student who passed the Algebra ECA, end of course assessment as a high school graduate in 5th grade. So the Mashal HaEfes is as follows. A teacher wanted to explain the value of the number 0 to his students. And he explained 0 is 0. It has no value. Whichever computational operation you perform yields you 0. But when you put a number in front of the 0, then suddenly it achieves great value, as in the number 10 greater than 9. And once you have a number in front of it, the more zeros you add, the more value the number has, as we all would like to have a few extra zeros attached to our paycheck and to our charitable contributions. The nimshal, so to speak, the metaphorical depiction, is potent. Culture, whether it is art or music or any other human endeavor or talent, is beautiful, but it may be limited and it may be futile if it is devoid of spiritual focus and godliness. Tragically, we need only think of the Holocaust, which happened during our lifetimes, and reflect upon the fact that the Nazis celebrated with classical music in the evening after the gas chambers during the day. And that the most chilling statistic I have ever heard about the period is that 33% of the SS commandants were PhDs or MDs. But conversely, if the spiritual center, if the core embedded within us is the Mishkan, is that very spark of godliness, because the Mishkan was portable. It was to have the spark of godliness within each of us, not within an edifice, but within our own hearts. Then suddenly the blessings of the tribe of Judah, the leadership and strength, the business acumen of the tribe of Zebulun, the wealth of Asher, each of these take on, and the scholarship of Yisachar, take on true importance and significance. When Jacob, on his deathbed, looked around at the rich diversity of his sons before blessing them with the blessings that would yet become the emblems emblazed on their flags, he said to them, "Gather round, hikaptzu, vishimu b'nei Yaakov," and he taught them the unifying mantra of Jewish survival, our core, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. Hear, O Israel, the Lord is one, the Lord is our God, the Lord is one. And in that way, each of them, each tribe, realized their own unique niche. Our graduating class tonight is a kaleidoscope of personalities, of rich, diverse talents and achievements, musically, athletically, artistically, and then the academic accolades. This year, for the very first time, the school has been recognized as a 4-star school by the state of Indiana. This is in no small measure because of this group. We are competing against other private schools, and our ISTEP and ECA scores were the top 25% of the state. This is an award that is awarded to over 300 schools out of over 3,000, and we are very proud of this class and all of our teachers and classes for that specific award. This year we have something very special. This is the first class to actually have 10 of its graduates sit and pass the ECA, the end of course assessment for 10th grade English. And that is an accomplishment which is shared by only 15 schools in the state of Indiana. Very special group. And this year, we also, for the very first time, have a group of 4 students who studied 22 blot of Gemara, 22 folio of the Talmud, and we are very, very proud of all of their achievements. Justifiably, we are proud, but I am most proud of something else entirely. I was privileged to spend 2 weeks with this group in Israel. 2 wonderful, magical weeks. Anytime you can be in Israel, it's a privilege. And anytime you can see the country, the land of our patriarchs and matriarchs through the eyes of one's students, it is a privilege. But this group, through their maturity and their demeanor, encapsulated the mission of this school, the transmission of Jewish heritage. Every day, bright and early in the morning, boys, girls, all of us, we were at Minyan. We davened 3 times a day. On Yom HaZikaron, despite the heat and the walking, this was a group who were engaged and reverent when we were at Yad Vashem and at Har Herzl. And most importantly, no matter how many wonderful fun opportunities they had, kayaking, snorkeling with dolphins, rappelling off mountains, and everything in between, if you asked them what their favorite part of the trip was, 2 or 1, they all said the Kotel. Spending Shabbat together in the Rova, in the Jewish quarter. And this is the number. Students, you have put a number before the myriad of zeros that you represent. This rich cultural diversity that you have will stand us in good stead. You 18 graduates represent the number high and represent and portend well for the vibrancy of Jewish leadership, not only in Indianapolis, but globally, because you are our future. We are very proud of you, and we wish you, as ambassadors of HHAI, bracha v'hatzlacha, success and blessing in all of your future endeavors. At this time, I would like to recognize each one of you. I'd like to give you your due, but then we'd be here way too long. So in 30 seconds or less, I'd like to recognize each of you and ask you to go back to your seat and remain standing. You're receiving an award from Senator Delf. You were privileged to meet him at the State House in February, recognizing your graduation from the Hastings Hebrew Academy in 2013. We will start with Eitan Al-Kaslasi. Eitan is the perfect package. Popular, athletic, and outstanding student, but most significantly, Eitan is enormously respectful. Never does a day go by where Eitan does not greet me and others respectfully and first. Congratulations, Eitan. Rebecca Bruns. Still waters run deep. Rebecca may be very quiet, but she's an extremely deep thinker. Comprehensive, conscientious, superlative student, excellent writer, and a beautiful friend. Most importantly, Rebecca is refined. Congratulations, Rebecca. Chava Banis. Chava's a natural leader. Chava's responsible, dependable, conscientious. If you need something done, you ask Chava to take care of it, and you know that it will be done. Chava's a friend to all ages, and I've seen her interact both with seniors and with the youngest children in the school. Congratulations, Chava. Ari Cohn. Ari is a Kohen, a privileged member of the elite class of the spiritual leaders of the Jewish people, a gifted musician, a voracious reader, an outstanding writer. Ari is an aspiring Talmud Chacham and a Ben Torah. Ari can converse with you on any topic, from basketball shoes to politics to Torah topics, and I've enjoyed watching his growth and maturity. Congratulations. Aaron Garrett. I refer to Aaron always as my gentleman and scholar. Aaron is an outstanding student. Aaron gives you razor-sharp, insightful answers. He doesn't beat around the bush. He is sensitive and kind and helpful to everyone. Aaron has enormous Jewish pride, and every day since his bar mitzvah, which we celebrated here in school, Aaron puts on tefillin. Congratulations, Aaron. Maya Geller Montague. Maya is a burst of beautiful energy. Maya joined our class in 8th grade, and the courage and tenacity that it takes to make that transition, Maya convinced her parents that she wanted a Jewish education and that this was the school that she wanted to be in. It's not easy to convince parents of most things, but especially something such as this. And Maya was open to learning and growing. Maya has a special relationship with young children. Congratulations, Maya. Ben Glazier. Benjamin was a superstar in Israel, a superstar. Benjamin has a passion for history and especially for the Holocaust. More importantly, or moreover, he also enjoys math and business. Ben was the one who figured out when El Al went on strike as we were about to return to the United States that if we had to stay over, it would cost either the school or the parents additional money. Ben, I really enjoyed the trajectory of maturity and the growth that you've displayed during this time. Congratulations. Maya Harris. Maya is an independent, free thinker. Maya is a superlative student in every aspect. But with that superlative student and all of her accolades, she is extremely humble. She doesn't take attention or call attention to herself. If Maya volunteered to tutor students in this school after school. She gave of her own time to help students who were less fortunate than she. And if anybody is going to bring peace to the Middle East, it's going to be Maya. Jonah Katz. Jonah, as a law professor's son, Jonah has a very keen sense of justice. You don't want to be on the opposite side of him in court. But more importantly, Jonah has unique and special compassion. When this group went to play at the nursing home just last week, Jonah was the only student who, after their performance, went into the crowd and sought out the residents to converse with them. Jonah has natural leadership ability. Congratulations. Brianna Kelso. Brianna, the architect of the Mishkan, was Bezalel. And amongst the descriptions, the adjectives that the Torah uses for him is Chochmat Lev, wisdom of the heart, which was used to describe our honorees this evening. And Brianna, your artistic creativity depicts spiritual growth and the beauty of the heart. and we are very proud of your growth over the last 3 years. Aviv Lincoln. Besides being very refined and very sensitive and inspiring, Aviv possesses the rare blend of the right and left brain synthesis. He is a superlative math student and also tremendously creative and artistic. Congratulations, Aviv. Michaela McCassidy. Michaela has spunk. Michaela has bubbly enthusiasm, a voracious reader, but beyond that, Michaela is not only a conscientious student and an excellent deep thinker, she's a free thinker, an independent thinker, outspoken and not afraid to express her opinions. Congratulations. Zaya Kapula. Zaya is living inspired. Zaya is the one who will always volunteer to give a Dvar Torah more than any other student. That's a very special and unique blessing about Zaya. She, in her social graces, is more comfortable to be a giver than to be a taker, and nothing gives her more pleasure than to share with others. Tremendous improvement over your 3 years in middle school. Congratulations, Zaya. Jonathan Rose. Jonathan, like your name, a gift from God. Jonathan possesses refreshing maturity. I saw it more keenly than ever during Israel, but besides that, Jonathan always expresses appreciation. In a generation where people are jaded and take entitlement, this is mine, I deserve it, for granted, not Jonathan. Every day he finds a way to say thank you to me, to my husband, to somebody for teaching him. Jonathan possesses the gift of gab. He's great with debate and a wonderful Shakespearean reader. Congratulations, Jonathan. Tal Rothenberg. Tal is my idea of an ideal student. Not only is he dramatic and musical and completely creative and right-brained, but Tal doesn't learn for grades. They don't motivate him. Tal has natural curiosity, and Tal's inquisitiveness and class participation has sparked many, many an interesting discussion. Congratulations, Tal. Nicole Sanders. As Nicole's new Hebrew name, Noah, depicts, she has grace and dignity, not only as a dancer. Nicole is very perseverant. She entered this class in 7th grade and had to make up tremendous ground in all subjects, but especially in Judaics. And we are very proud of your achievements. Congratulations. Sam Schwartz. Sam has a wonderful sense of humor. He's tremendously athletic, more so than any of us can even dream of being. But most importantly, Sam is proud, deep sense of pride in being Jewish. Sam has the neatest collection of kippot this side of the Mississippi. Congratulations. And finally, Arik Taiki. Confident, athletic. Arik is a superlative math and Talmud student. Arik, you've grown tremendously over the last 3 years, and you truly are a Ben Aliyah. We are very proud of you. I'd like to ask all the students now if you can stand with your certificates for may you go from strength to strength and bring continued nachat to your parents, to our school, and to all of Israel. Mazel tov.
Friday doing mitzvahs. We were performing for 3 nursing homes. It's a difficult audience because sometimes they make unexpected noises and sometimes they appreciate us but don't really show that they do. We had a long day. We had a very rainy day. The rain was good to us. It didn't rain any time we were unloading equipment, and we got to go to the park and play ball at lunchtime. So we're going to share one piece with you that we did in our mitzvah performances on Friday. If you were an 8th grade parent last year that played the surprise at the dinner, we're also playing the surprise. It's a little harder version.
my next task is bittersweet. I'm going to be recognizing Mrs. Nikki Pike-Hamstra for her 5 years of wonderful, dedicated service here to the Haston Hebrew Academy. She has been offered a full PhD program to Ball State University in Educational Psychology, where she will head their Gifted and Talented Center. And while we realize what a fabulous opportunity it is for her, selfishly, we are all a bit disappointed. 5 years ago, when I interviewed Nikki for what was supposed to be a 5-week substitute position, I knew after 1 minute that this was going to be, I needed it to be a lot longer than 5 weeks. She single-handedly has transformed our humanities program into the superlative program and the anchor of our middle school that it has become, and it is the reason that our students were able to take the 10th grade ECA, and the reason that so many of our students are able to be successful in writing and literature contests. Nikki leads by example, grace and dignity, her dedication and energy, every trip, every program, woman of valor, advisory, anything she lends her hand to is perfect. She is a 10 in the eyes of the students and all of the parents, and I joke with her insidedly that she truly is perfect and nothing she will do will disappoint me, even going so far as to help us find her replacement. There is no one better to present the actual award to Mrs. Pike-Hamstra in recognition of her tremendous service and dedication to the Haston Hebrew Academy than an alumnus. Naomi Farahan has traveled through the night from Carnegie Hall, where she was receiving a gold key in the Scholastic Writing Awards competition, inspired by her teacher, Mrs. Pike-Hamstra. So it is my pleasure to call upon Naomi to present this award.
I met Mrs. Pike-Hamstra, she wore tennis shoes, a ponytail, and a frazzled smile. This is the Mrs. P.H. I would grow to love, the teacher that looked like a student, except for the clipboard and iPhone she carried from class to class. Her appearance was fitting, because Mrs. P.H. learns just as much as she teaches. My class had never seen someone so excited by the difference between a comma and a semicolon. She seemed to learn along with us. The Constitution came alive with organized skits. We didn't learn about the Silk Road through dates and history and names of travelers. Rather, we were the explorers themselves, trading spices for metals, bartering, as if we hadn't just debated the pros and cons of gum in class. By the way, my side won. Gum was a hypothetical, though. In Israel, when most of us were experiencing the country for the first time, she became a student. She traveled with the same wonder and enthusiasm as her 15 eighth graders. When I entered Mrs. Pike-Hamstra's classroom for the first time, I was a loud 6th grader with a bit of an attitude. More than anything, I wanted to succeed. I wanted to read and write, and well, be better than everyone else. That's when Mrs. P.H. changed my life. She called me a writer. Can you imagine that? Me, a writer. She pushed me to create characters, illustrate with poetry, and go beyond the 5-paragraph essay. In December of 2010, I was no longer just a too eager student. My oldest brother passed away. I was a 13-year-old, without a clue where to go next. And then Mrs. P.H. reminded me. To heal, I had to write. I scribbled furiously, expressing feelings on paper that I could never say out loud. I won my first writing competition with an essay about grief. Mrs. P.H. was right, as usual. I wasn't just an English student. I was a writer. Mrs. P.H., you were born to be in the classroom as both a teacher and a student. So on behalf of this entire community, I'd like to congratulate you. Thank you for pursuing your dream, just as you encouraged me to do. Your future students are lucky, no, blessed, to learn from a mentor like you. And on behalf of the 8th grade Naomi, braces and all, I'd like to thank you for helping me become the person I am meant to be. I may not be your student, but you will always be my teacher. For her outstanding dedication to her students and school.
So I don't know how to follow that. You never want to speak after a writer, and as she said, Naomi is a writer. She was born a writer. I don't take credit for that. But I am truly touched to be able to say thank you to this community tonight that has so warmly embraced me and entrusted me with the education of its children. When I joined the Haston Hebrew Academy as a short-term substitute teacher, I'd only planned to stay 5 weeks, and that was 5 years ago. I've come to realize that life is full of amazing, unplanned journeys, and I consider my time at the Haston Hebrew Academy as one of the best unexpected gifts I've ever received. When I walked into the academy to interview for the temporary position, I was prepared for the bland, hand me your resume, take a demeaning computer test, and understand that you are expendable type of temp interview I had endured previously. To be honest, I was quite hesitant to return to middle school after a disillusioning student teaching experience, but I convinced myself that I could handle a short-term commitment. However, all preconceived notions vanished within minutes of meeting Mrs. Miriam Gettinger. Speaking with Miriam was like having a conversation with my kindred spirit in education. We shared the same passions in history and literature. She spoke of the type of education I had only dreamed about when I first decided to become a teacher. Simply put, she spun a magical web that enveloped me. Miriam was different than any other principal I had ever met. She was a true educator. She was passionate. She was well-versed in research. And above all, she had a captivating vision. On my first day with the students, I had planned a quick icebreaker activity. Students were asked to choose an object that they had brought to class that day and describe its importance to them. I had merely hoped to jot down some fun facts about the students so that I could remember their names quickly. I was prepared for rolling eyes, general non-interest, and the classic unruly behavior burned so vividly in my student teaching memory. In short, I was completely unprepared for the type of student I would meet at the academy. Not only did these amazing young students listen attentively and actually follow instructions, but they transformed my simple activity into a deep, reflective exercise as they bravely stood up and revealed precious insights into their lives. One student spoke about her t-shirt and how it symbolized her relationship with her parents. Another student spoke about his multicolored kippah that he had received at a friend's bar mitzvah and how it illustrated both his colorful personality and his pride in his Jewish roots. These students not only had analytical minds, but also demonstrated genuine openness. They immediately let me in. They made me laugh. They hungrily dove into every activity I had planned, and they came back the next day ready for more. In my disbelief, I stopped by Sherry's room after school. I bubbled over with excitement about how thrilling it had been to teach such engaged students. She smiled knowingly and said, "Welcome to the academy." When I speak about my experience at the Academy of Outsiders, I often use the metaphor of a teaching hospital because it captures a symbiotic learning environment for both students and teachers. The Academy's vision is firmly rooted in sound educational pedagogy, especially through student-centered learning and professional development. I've been truly blessed to have worked with and learned from some master teachers. You've all helped me improve my bedside manner, develop intentional and skillful practices, and take the requisite time to foster relationships with students. The Academy has indelibly shaped my teaching and forever touched my heart. To Miriam, you will always be a beloved mentor. I promised my students I would be able to make it through. I humbly thank you for your encouragement and for inspiring me with your vision. Your transforming leadership has enabled me to flourish and called me to empower other teachers. You've bestowed a wonderful legacy upon me, and I will be forever in your debt. To my team teacher and confidant, Sherry, I thank you for your faith in me and your dedication to the Academy's students and teachers. Your high expectations have helped the Academy to achieve distinguished recognition, but such success would be impossible without your support in enabling students and teachers to raise the bar year after year. You've taught me how to trust my instincts and differentiate instruction so that all students receive the best possible education. To my middle school team, Matt, Nika, Maya, Netanel, Michael, Ethel, Sari, Mary Ellen, Ann, JB, and Shu, you are the dream team. You have taught me the meaning of dedication, perseverance, and teamwork, and how to love this wonderful period in life called middle school. To Sheila and Linda, my partners in crime, I am grateful for the many hours you have spent helping me supplement my curriculum, whether that be from running all over town to pick up library books, or teaching me valuable modification strategies into the wee hours. You unfailingly give all of yourselves, and that has made all the difference. To our incredible administration and staff, Marcy, Sharon, Lana, Tony, Christina, Kitty, and Leslie, who exude patience and flexibility whenever approached with my grandiose extracurricular plans or special last-minute favors. To the Academy parents, thank you for your endless support and enthusiasm. It has been a privilege to be a part of a community that values education and does whatever it takes to make dreams become a reality. Your continual sacrifice and loyalty to the Academy and its mission are powerful reminders that schools are only as strong as their families. And to my students, thank you for your willingness to take this journey with me. Thank you for your passion, your creativity, and your deep desire to learn. You've been a true joy to teach and impossible to forget. I wish you blessings on your way, many games, stories, and laughter, and the courage to never settle for less. To my family in the audience, whose presence reflects the significant role the Academy has played in my life, thank you for being my first teachers and a constant source of guidance and support. Despite my determination to abandon teaching years ago, Hashem had better plans for me. I wasn't really a teacher before I came to the Academy, but I became one under your nurturing care. I am forever grateful that my 5 weeks with you became 5 years. May the legacy you have shared with me endure for generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you for your moving words and for all you've done for the Academy and our best wishes. Now for the final part of our program. If you just look at the unbelievable turnout we have tonight, you see an indication of how much the Academy's choice of honorees for 2013 means to all of us in the community.
friends, faculty, and distinguished guests. Welcome to the 42nd annual 8th grade graduation at the Hastings Hebrew Academy of Indianapolis.
Don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened. Dr. Seuss, probably one of my favorite authors of all time, offered these words of advice that seem particularly fitting on our graduation night. Though we have waited for this moment for a long time, some sort of tension has embedded itself into that anticipation, because we will no longer remain a whole class. We will go on to various high schools, and many of us will make that journey alone. I will be going to Carmel High School by myself, and Ari will travel 650 miles away from Indianapolis to attend yeshiva in Queens. Maya will go to Zionsville High School, while Aaron will go to Avon. Regardless, we are all a little apprehensive about leaving the school we have been calling our second home for so long. Many of us have been here for over 12 years. We have had so many memories with each other and have become great friends. Hopefully, these friendships will endure through high school and on to college. Although we are traveling different paths, we will all continue the next chapter of our lives together, and we are very grateful that all of you are here to witness it. Friends and family, teachers, and members of the board, it means so much that you could be here today to support us. This has been such a privilege that it will be hard not to smile. Today, we will turn into high schoolers, but not before we celebrate our wonderful years at the Hastings Hebrew Academy.
Now, please rise for the singing of the Atikva and National Anthem. I'd now like to invite Mrs. Monica Rosenfeld, President of the Board, to say a few words.
Good evening, everybody. It gives me great pleasure on behalf of the Board of Directors of the Hastings Hebrew Academy to welcome everyone here for our graduation graduation exercise. I'd just like to have one bit of housekeeping. If you have not already done so, please mute your cell phones, okay? I'll give everybody a minute to do that. Mine just went off, so I remember that it needs to be done, okay? I'd like to call upon the teachers and the staff that are here to please rise. I'd like to acknowledge them because, of course, without them, we wouldn't have such a fine school and these kids would receive a great education, and we're celebrating that tonight. So please, all staff and teaching faculty, thank you. It's hard to believe that it's time for these guys to graduate. They're 8th graders. Some of them I've had the privilege of seeing since they were little children coming into this school. Some of them came later. It's a testimony to our school that we have kids that decided that they wanted to come, even in the middle school, even in 8th grade, some of them. And I just want to acknowledge that anyone that comes to this school is really showing that they have a mind of their own and a will of their own, because it's not necessarily the fashion or the vogue to send a child to the Hastings Hebrew Academy, to any Jewish day school, certainly not in our community. But we have children who have decided on their own that they felt it was important to receive this education, and we have parents that have been deeply committed for years and years for their children to have a strong Jewish education and to maintain their identities. And I'd like to thank all of you for not being a follower. It's not always easy to do something that's different from maybe what your peers are doing. But everyone who's here has shown that they feel a commitment to a strong Jewish identity with the land of Israel and the people of Israel and our heritage. And that's what we're acknowledging tonight. So thank you very much, and I'm sure we'll all enjoy this graduation ceremony. Thank you.
Actually authored the Torah and accused Moshe Barnea because it was illogical and irrational.
The Midrash explains the connection between tzitzit, the last topic in the previous parasha, and Korach's rebellion.
Korach went to Moshe and asked if he had on an all-blue robe, did he still need a blue string on his tzitzit?
Moshe said yes, but to Korach this didn't make any sense.
The purpose of the blue is to remind us of the sky, heavens, and our God above.
Therefore, it would seem redundant to also have a blue string.
Korach then asks Moshe another question. He asks, if you have a room full of svarim, including sidurim and chumashim, do you still need to have a mezuzah on the door?
Korach reasons that if the mezuzah contains the first 2 paragraphs of the Shema in a room full of prayer books and Torah scrolls containing those Shema, surely it doesn't need to be in a mezuzah as blood.
Yet Moshe replied, yes.
One of the commentaries of the Midrash explains this oddity of Jewish practice by stating that this is because in affixing a mezuzah on your door, or your home, or your place of business, you are actually immersed in a living Jewish mitzvah experience. While studying, on the other hand, you are learning the academic or intellectual theories behind the mitzvah.
Going to this school has given us both an academic understanding of Judaism and the spiritual vibrancy of living Judaism.
From our parsha classes in kindergarten to our 8th grade Israel trip, we have learned and experienced Judaism in a physical and spiritual sense.
The Israel trip was an amazingly spiritual experience, which encapsulated all of our Jewish education.
We felt as though we were connected to our Jewish history, geography, and heritage.
Going to Israel has given us a foundation to set the rest of our lives on.
What we have learned and experienced as a class will help us on our journey to adulthood.
Thank you to all the people that have taken us through these school years with a helping hand, and a special thanks to Mrs. Gettinger and Mr. Edrick, who made our life-changing experience possible. And now the graduating class would like to show you some selections from their autobiography videos and share some final thoughts.
hated every minute of training, but I said, don't quit. Suffer now and live the rest of your life as a champion. Muhammad Ali. While I may not be an elite athlete, I can still relate to this quote. There have been many times in my life when I felt like quitting, but I have learned to suffer through the difficulties because in the end, it will all be worth it. Even if I fail the first couple of times, I should keep on going. There are many times when I feel like giving up, but I understand that if I don't quit, it will all be to my benefit. If I accomplish a task, no matter how difficult or mundane, I feel that I accomplished the most difficult thing in the world, which is to me a really great feeling. It is much more difficult for me to accomplish something that I dislike than something I enjoy doing. I feel that if I give up, then I risk the reward in the end. Even if the reward isn't what I expected in the end, I don't get mad because I realize that I was able to accomplish something, and that to me is the reward.
Be happy. It's one way of being wise. Sidora Gabrielle Colette. We all agree that it is not smart to waste time. Time was not created so a clock could tick. It was not created so the pages of ancient textbooks could wither away, its ink wearing off the older it gets. No. It was created so we could seize it. Time surrounds us, controls us, nudges us, encourages us, and sets the pace of the Earth's very rotation. But while it is the center of our universe, so many people just so happen to forget how precious it really is. Unfortunately, life provides only a finite amount of that precious time. Our job is to maximize it. Happiness is certainly the key to unlocking the best of what we have been given. However, my classmates and I have probably wasted much of our lives being unhappy. But when hardships occur, we understand that it is essential to overcome them in search of that happiness once more, and in hope that it will enhance our lives for the better, because happiness will make the time we have here worth it. And that is no small feat, but an achievement synonymous with wisdom. Although it is simple to be victimized from a lack of happiness, succumbing to that is an error I pledge, as an incoming high school student, to correct. After all, it is one way of being wise.
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. I have heard this quote many times throughout my life, and most recently during my bat mitzvah preparation. My parents, family, and teachers remind me of this wisdom all the time. When Kelly Clarkson came out with a song by the same title, it made me feel like everyone should use this quote to get through everyday life, because it helps people believe in themselves. This quote is what makes my life complete. As I've been thinking about this quote recently, I've decided that I want to take more risks in life. If they don't kill me, they will make me stronger. As the song says, stand a little taller doesn't mean I'm lonely when I'm alone. I'm reminded to stand tall and never give up on what I believe in. It can be easy to doubt myself when others say I'm wrong, but I know I'll never be wrong if I stand up for what I believe in.
Rabbi Yehuda Nasi said, "What is the proper path a man should choose for himself? Whatever brings him glory before Hashem and brings him glory before his fellows." Chapter 2, Mishnah 1 of Pirkei Avot. The second chapter of Pirkei Avot begins with Rabbi Yehuda Nasi explaining to us how to properly select a path in life. He says that we are obligated to act in a manner which brings glory to ourselves, both in the eyes of Hashem and in the eyes of our fellow men. I have learned from this quote that although I may have differences of opinion with friends, acquaintances, and sometimes even relatives, I believe that I need to make an effort to treat others in a polite and pleasant manner. As I stand before you today as a graduate of the HHAI, my hope for the future is that I will use the gifts that Hashem has given me, not only to serve Him wholeheartedly, but to be inspired and reach out to others and impact them as positively as I can.
live life to the happiest it can be. This is my quote, my difficult, helpful quote. I made this quote myself based on my own life experiences. I tried to think of what I have done in my life that has helped me, and these are the two most important things. I try not to worry. If I worry, I get stressed, and if I get stressed, I can miss out on all the good that life provides because I'm too busy focusing on the bad. Happiness lets me take any bad thing that comes my way, toss it aside, continue on my merry way. As I have lived my life, I have noticed that it is not about making life easier, nor is it about making life miserable for others. What I have found is that it is about accepting everything that is thrown at me. I found that if I accept all the things that life hands me, and I try not to worry, and try to be happy, I will succeed in doing so. And I will be able to handle everything that comes my way, as well as be able to make the right hard choice. No matter what life throws at me, I always manage to pull through with this quote. Thank you.
Live as if you were to die tomorrow. Learn as if you were to live forever. Mahatma Gandhi. These short and simple words describe my life perfectly. Since I was born, I have lived my life to the fullest. I smile and laugh every day, and live every second like it is my last one. I don't see any point in being down and upset because you only live once, so I should make that one time count. I feel that being down only makes others feel down also. When I stay positive, I feel like others see it in me and start to act more positive as well. When I was a baby, many of my mother's friends said that they had never seen a baby smile more than I did. When life gives you 100 reasons to cry, show life that you have 1,000 reasons to smile. Sure, there will be many times in life when something happens where you just need to cry, but that does not mean that I have to forget about all the reasons to smile. There will always be more reasons to smile than to cry. I just have to find them.
Buy low, sell high, is the quote I chose for graduation. Buy low and sell high is the goal of every investor when they are investing money in a stock. If they purchase stocks for a low price and sell them for a high price, they will make profit. Many of you know of my interest in business, so you are probably not surprised I plan to make this wisdom my motto for my business deals in the future. I hope to attend the Kelley School of Business at Indiana University and become a stockbroker. I know through the rest of my schooling, buy low, sell high will be in my mind. In the future, whenever I'm making business deals, I'll always remember, buy low, sell high. When I am a stockbroker in 25 years, I will have a sign above my office saying, buy low, sell high. On all of my business cards, there will be, buy low, sell high at the bottom of time. While this quote certainly relates to making money, more importantly, it reminds me of the importance of making good decisions. My clients will need to be reassured that I will make a good decision for their business. They will trust me to wisely invest their money. As a young adult, I've come to understand that every choice I make has an effect. So remembering this quote will help me always to take the time to think through decisions in business and life before I make them.
I'm an idealist. I don't know where I'm going, but I'm on my way. These are the wise words of Carl Sandburg. I find that they sum up what my life has been so far and how I envision it being for the foreseeable future. Some people are scared that they don't know where they're going with their lives. I don't understand why this is. Why should they be scared? Being directionless shouldn't be intimidating. Just so long as throughout our lives we're doing what's right by ourselves, we'll get where we need to be. There is a greater scheme of things, but in that great scheme, there's a place for every person. I have no fear that my place in this grand scheme will be to do grand things, to contribute to the greater good. My hope is this. Each day I live, I will try to do what I think is right. This should get me to the best place I could possibly be, regardless of whether I have a detailed map to get me there. I recently became a bat mitzvah.
And that's all about doing what's right in my community and in the world around me. Unfortunately, as my quote states, I don't know where to go in the world around me, or who I need to do right by. Fortunately, my family has given me a beautiful compass that I will use to go in the right direction.
Our class has been through good times and bad times, but no matter the situation, we always stuck together. No hardship could tear apart our strongly woven friendship. Many of us have been friends since before we could talk.
Our class has always been one of the largest in the school. We are all proud of it and love to have more friends. While we are celebrating as the HHI class of 2013 tonight, we will be remiss if we did not mention some of our former classmates who could not graduate with us tonight, but shaped their class nonetheless.
Martin, Aviad, Sivan, Elise, Emily, Jonathan, Keon, Matanya, Omen, Israel, Achinom, Hannah, and Evan. We have stayed in touch with these friends. All of them have affected our class in positive ways. The common bond between us Hastings Hebrew Academy students will always be there. We have formed relationships with each other here that will last a lifetime. Our class is capable of great achievements, and it will be a pleasure to follow where we each end up. I'm sure that many of us will one day be wearing clothes fashioned by the famous Hava Bunnis and see magnificent artwork made by Brianna and Aviv in art museums around the world. When we get old, many of us will go to Becca and Zaya for quality medical care. And maybe on the way there, we can listen to some political radio brought to us by Yonatan. I, for one, will be owning a house made by the great architect Ari Cohen. God forbid we get into a car accident and end up in the hospital. I'm sure that will call us and get us what we deserve.
We will all, in the future, have the latest Windows product, not Mac, at a slightly discounted price designed by the new president of Microsoft, Eitan Apostassi. Those of us called to defend our country in war may be comforted by the protection of Jonah's new advanced line of weaponry under the command of General Schwartz. We will hear about Aaron's research in the marine biology field, funded by the millionaire Ben Glazer. If our daughter, Adrian's son, has an interest in dance, we will send them to learn with the very talented Nicole Sanders. If any of us will ever read one of Maya Harris's books, we'll smile to see that it was edited and published by Michaela's Book Company and widely sold thanks to Maya Jim's amazing review for it on her international news segment, This Week's News in 43 Seconds. And finally, if we ever need any spiritual advice, we will be able to log on to confessasin.com for the Rabbi Taiki.
Each one of our classmates has so many great attributes to give to the world. Although our skills span through so many different categories, we're still one group. Our group is like a mosaic piece. Each piece is different and special. We all hope that we will keep in touch forever. I am proud to share this special moment with you all. We could not have ever hoped for better classmates in the world.
If opportunity doesn't knock, build a door. Milton Berle. This is key in accomplishing what you want to do in life. Opportunities will most likely not find you, and in order to find that opportunity, a door must be built. This is exactly what I intend to do in my life. I'm going to find opportunities and make sure that I accomplish what I want. A recent example of how this philosophy applies to my life is in my search to find the right high school for me. I've been searching for high school since the beginning of my 8th grade year. I worked hard to get good grades and receive acceptance letters into the 2 schools that I wanted. If I hadn't done some of my own work, such as shadowing and getting more information on schools, I would have ended up getting a mediocre education. The education that I received here allows me to walk out of the door open for me here at the HHI through the next step that I built myself.
on hearts, not tombstones. A legacy is etched into the minds of others in the stories they share about you. Shannon Adler. As a person with a personality, feelings, and thoughts of my own, I want to make an impact on the people around me. I want to be able to reach out and influence people by just being myself, by sharing my story. I want to make a difference, even if it's only in my little group of friends. One of my favorite songs is The Climb by Miley Cyrus. The chorus of the song says, "There's always going to be another mountain. I'm always going to want to make it move. It's always going to be an uphill battle, but sometimes I'm going to have to lose. It's not about how fast I get there, and it's not about what's waiting on the other side. It's the climb. The climb is the ascension to a goal in someone's life. My goal is to be the best I can possibly be. The chorus alone is what makes me want to inspire others in some way. I'm going to take whatever challenge life throws at me. Later on in my life, I will look back on those experiences and be thankful for them, because they are what have made me who I am today. They are what have built my character. Thanks to the mistakes in my past, I stayed strong all the while. Honestly, I'm proud of myself for staying true to who I am and what I want out of life. I still know what I want, and that is to show people what life means to me and what I hope it will mean to them. I want to share with them that they need to make the best of it all and to never give up. I'm not giving up, ever.
During my years at the HHI, I have learned many things. I have learned to read and to write. I learned to count and to add. I learned that x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. But most importantly, I have learned that your life is only worth what it's made out to be. This means I can't sit around and live my life out. I can't just hope for the best. I need to take action and work to make my everyday life interesting, but also worth living. It's better to be a lion for a day than a sheep all your life. Elizabeth Kenny. I used to be a sheep. I used to wake up, brush my teeth, eat breakfast, get dressed, go to school, come home, do homework, eat, shower, then go back to sleep. My life seemed boring and mindless. Then I entered middle school. Something happened. I had this feeling that I needed to do something, to change my ways. Instead of moping around, I started caring about school. I started playing tennis for wrestling for my club. I went to my friends' houses more often. I went to the JCC. I visited my grandparents. I went to art school, and I cherished every single moment. I have been living like a lion. I have been proving what I'm capable of and achieving my dreams. I feel that I'm ready for the future and ready for high school. Achieving my goals has helped me prove to myself that I am a lion and that I can achieve anything I try.
I am far from what I once was, but not yet what I'm going to be. I chose this book for graduation because there is a sense of finality. It makes it clear that there is always room to change. I have grown over the years, which has made all the difference in who I am. Like so many people, I have made mistakes, and I have learned from them. I like to remain positive about life, because let's face it, we don't have time to dwell on our mistakes. We just have time to make sure we don't make them again. I know I'm not perfect, but one day I hope to be a much better version of who I am now. When I'm older, I hope to do something that can benefit as many people as possible, if not the whole world. I'm not sure where I will end up, but I know wherever I go and whatever I do, it'll all happen because of my family, friends, and the wonderful education I have had here at the Hastings Hebrew Academy.
The quote that I love and choose to live by is, "Be yourself because everyone else is already taken." When I think about this quote, I realize the deep meaning and how important this concept concept is. Over the years at HHAI, I've become more open to people about who I really am and have become more comfortable being myself. This quote reminds me to be myself, because if I'm not myself around other people, they will not like me for me, and that isn't what I want. I don't want to live a lie and feel like I have to hide my inner self from the world. That's what makes HHAI so great. I know that this is a place I can always be myself around everyone. I know that I won't be judged, and best of all, I know that I always have a place where I fit in and call home. I have many friends here that have truly changed my life. I know they will stay in my heart forever because they are my family and have helped me become the person I am today. I'm overwhelmed at the thought of going to high school next year. I'm going to miss HHAI so much, but I'm excited for a new school and the new adventure that awaits me. Thanks to HHAI, I will not only know how to be myself, but I'll also know how to be accepting of the others I meet along the way.
You're trying to achieve, there will be roadblocks. I've had them. Everybody's had them. But obstacles don't have to stop you. If you run into a wall, don't turn around and give up. Figure out how to climb it, go through it, or work around it. These words were said by the famous Michael Jordan. For people who don't know me, I love basketball, and I admire Michael Jordan. That is not why I'm inspired by this quote. I'm inspired by it because it is a maxim that I want to live by for the rest of my life. As a player on the HHAI basketball team, I learned from my coach, Steve Coleman, that basketball isn't just for the sake of having fun and winning. It's about hard work and never giving up. He has told us before that even in the fourth period of a game, down by many, we should never give up. To never give up teaches one how to succeed and guarantees long-term success. It gives us strength to continue and to strive. Thank you.
Hi, my name, as you all know very well, is Talshai Rothenberg. Those of you who know me well won't be surprised by the quote that I have chosen to live by. Do what you love what you do. Ray Bradbury. I love this quote because it inspires me to do what motivates me for the following years to come. If I don't do what I love, then I could possibly be choosing a path in life that I will regret. Even if a task is difficult, enjoying it will make all the difference. Living my life by this quote will not only help me choose a path in my career, but will also help me succeed in whatever I choose to do. While it may be tempting to pursue a high-paying job as an adult, if it is a job that bores me, I will be miserable. I'd rather accomplish a difficult task when enjoying it than simply completing an easy task while hating it. After all, the pursuit of happiness is half the fun.
The graduation quote that I chose is, "I think it's always best to be who you are," by Halle Berry. This quote is very meaningful to me because I always strive to be myself. When I came to the Hastings Hebrew Academy last year, it wasn't the easiest to be open at first, since I came so late to the school while most of the students had been here their entire lives. But because everyone has been so open, it was easy for me to be open about who I really am. At the beginning, I was quiet, but because everyone's authentic here, I made many friends. The thing that I love about the school is that nobody embarrasses each other here, and I always have a place I can feel I belong. Although it sounds silly, I believe that dance has helped me gain the confidence I need to be myself. It allows me to be creative, express my inner self, and feel as though I have accomplished something big. When I accomplish something, I have pride in myself. Then my confidence level is instantly boosted. I intend to be myself next year in a new school, even though it might be difficult at first. I will meet many new friends that are only for me and not for somebody I pretend to be. I already know that I can do it because I've had good practice here at the Hastings Hebrew Academy. Thank you.
yourself if you keep comparing yourself to everyone else. Instead, compare yourself to who you were yesterday. I think this quote will help me be a better and stronger person. It reminds me that I can only be the best version of me. If I lose focus on that goal by comparing myself to others, then I will never be my best. It also helps me to think positively. If I focus and improve myself from where I was yesterday, I will feel accomplished and positive about my direction in life. I know I will also rely on this quote when I pursue a career in the armed forces. To be a strong soldier, I will constantly have to face my weaknesses and work hard to overcome them. I can do that by best focusing on myself rather than on others. An army or a navy is only as strong as the individuals make it up. If each soldier focuses on himself, then he can make real progress and become the strongest version of himself.
Famous poet Robert Frost once said, "In 3 words, I can sum up everything I've learned about life. It goes on." This is a very meaningful quote that I believe can completely describe life simply and universally. This quote is saying that life will get difficult over time, but that's life. Life is meant to be challenging, but the true goal is to overcome those challenges and move on. I feel as if this specifically describes my life and my family, because there has been many sad occasions, but we have pulled through them together as a family. All of my grandparents died before I was born, which must have been very difficult on my parents, but they got through it. My family has had their fair share of difficulties, including my parents' divorce and some difficult financial times following it, but they got through it together. At the end of this year, we will be moving to Michigan, which is very difficult for me since I have lived here all my life and have so many great friends here. However, I understand that this will be difficult for us all, but yet again, we will get through it like we always have and like we always will. We gain strength by getting through difficulties, and that strength sustains and helps us get through the next challenge.
The mediocre teacher tells, the good teacher explains, the superior teacher demonstrates, and the great teacher inspires, by William Glasser. As this quote demonstrates, great teachers inspire, and we have been privileged to have great teachers at the Hastings Heber Academy. Together, they work their hardest to not only share their knowledge, but also inspire us to be great writers, thinkers, and people. They all have their special way of teaching that helps each child have this faith instilled in school. The Hastings Heber Academy is not only a Jewish school, but also an outstanding academic school. The teachers of the school have given us training that we can now take off and join the real world.
Mrs. Gettinger, thank you so much for always taking care of us. You are so welcoming to everyone who joins the school. You help us so much whenever we need anything. You immediately figure out a way to make us feel comfortable when we aren't. You devote all your time to our school and students, and that means so much to us.
Mr. Edry, thank you so much for being an amazing teacher. We are with you for half of our day, 5 times a week. Even though you are strict, we are so happy that you were the one who planned our amazing trip to Israel. Every single detail, down to where we were going to eat at night, was set in stone weeks before we left. We now know you are a master logistics planner, but also consider you a good friend.
Mrs. Peg-Hamstra, thank you for being a wonderful 7th and 8th grade humanities teacher. We all loved how you taught us grammar using the grammar boards. Thank you also for teaching us how to be great readers and writers. We know we will all be prepared for high school. Besides being a great teacher in the classroom, you were also a great chaperone. We all learned so much in the many learning activities we experienced outside the classroom, such as the sleeve simulation at Conner Prairie and our unforgettable 7th grade trip to Washington, D.C.
Ms. Solomon, thank you for being a wonderful science teacher. We felt like true scientists in your classroom because you always challenge us to be the best we can be. We all enjoyed the labs which gave us a better idea of what we were learning and were much better than learning from packets.
Mr. Tucker, thank you for being the best math teacher ever. You made learning math really engaging. We all enjoyed the math projects because they allowed us to use our imagination to make something neat using math. You are also definitely the funniest teacher ever. There are many times when we all had a good laugh, thanks to you. Like the time we were on our way back from DC and you asked us, muffins?
Miss Spelman. Mrs. Spelman, thank you so much for being the best creative art teacher ever. Even when we had some crazy, outrageous idea for an art project, you always knew how to let us down gently when there was no way we could finish it. You made us work towards our goals and you helped us do our best at everything. Thank you for sharing your practice of 2 stars and a wish. When we were disappointed on an art project, you helped us reshape our thinking by requiring that we first say 2 things we liked about the art piece, then 1 thing we wanted to improve on it.
Mrs. Sloan, thank you so much for teaching us all about music. Learning how to read music and keep a beat is a great life skill to have. You are always so patient with us, even if we are sometimes loud and disruptive. We all enjoyed playing the chimes, and the 8th grade mitzvah trip to the nursing homes to play the chimes is a day we won't forget. We know we will all miss going to your class and playing the chimes over and over.
Mrs. Hamstra, thank you for being a great 6th grade humanities teacher and introducing us to Shakespeare, grammar, and all of the great mind-opening projects. We will never forget the day. Not only did it teach us about ancient civilizations, but also about how to work as a team.
Miss Blaine, thank you for being an awesome PE teacher. We all enjoyed the new games you taught us when we were younger, and how you let us play whatever we wanted in middle school.
Mr. Boscobornik, thank you for teaching us all about technology. Because of this, we will be ready for the technology-filled future. You taught us how to use Google Docs, Cool Moves, MicroWorld, and GameMaker. All of these programs really made us think outside of the box, a skill that will serve us well in high school, college, and beyond.
Mrs. Shmuel, you are a wonderful Hebrew teacher. You made learning Hebrew a really interesting subject. We loved how when we learned something, you always had a meaningful activity to go with it. You are also a wonderful teacher outside of the classroom. You were a great chaperone on the DC trip and in Israel.
Mrs. Love, thank you so much for making super fun activities for us to learn about different parashos. We love to cook and make candy flowers. Thank you so much for buying all that supplies to do our unique and tasty activities.
Rabbi Gluck, thank you for teaching the boys Mishnah. It was a great privilege to learn from you. We'll never forget the neat origami figures.
Miss Wan, you are a teacher who always makes us feel at home. You always have jokes to tell, and we were so glad you stayed after your short-time substitute position ended. We all had our fair share of laughs with you and enjoyed getting to know you this last year.
Mrs. Barkey, we're all so thankful for your dedication to the Woman of Valor program and your gentle guidance in difficult times. You teach us how to truly shine.
And to our memorable first teachers, Mrs. Stoller, who gave us the gift of reading.
Mrs. Sims, who expanded our reading horizons by introducing us to that wonderful place called the library, teaching us about encyclopedias, locating the perfect book, and playing Jeopardy.
Miss Vick, who taught us the basics of science through exploratory, hands-on activities that made science come alive. We will miss the annual trips.
Mrs. Cook, who taught us the basics of writing and reading and how to probably celebrate Colts victory with the Dancing Colts family.
Mrs. Hastings, for teaching us 2nd grade Hebrew and Chumash. Your wonderful Chumash party and play are some of our first and most special memories of our Judaic learning here.
Mrs. Nur, who taught us to sing our way through synonyms and homonyms while you accompanied us on your piano. We were truly touched that you always treated our work as treasures and took the time to say a special goodbye this week by sharing the notes of kindness you wrote in 7th grade.
And to those teachers who have supported us in multiple small groups throughout the years. Mrs. Stanfield, for all the extra time you put into teaching math to ensure that we really understood it.
Mrs. Schrader, for your constant support in English. Your willingness to stay late for homework club and facilitate multiple study sessions have helped us realize our potential.
To those teachers who contributed to our time here even though they could not contribute, celebrate with us tonight. Thank you, Mrs. Glenn, Mrs. Weatherlow, Mrs. Saadia, Mr. Mualim, Mr. Hakimi, Mrs. Hakimi, Mrs. Zitton, and Mrs. Green. And last but not least, we would like to thank Miss Tony, Miss Christina, Mrs. Eckhouse, Mrs. Wartman, Simon, Mitchell, and Nikolai for all they do behind the scenes to make this such a wonderful place to
We are so grateful to all the teachers and staff at this school for the amazing education we get daily. You spend so much time crafting detailed lesson plans and creating interesting activities just so we can learn. It is easy for us to take you for granted, but we know how truly privileged we are. You define the education of this school, inspire us to do our best, and reach for our lofty goals. You joke around with us, but love us like parents at the same time. We are all so honored to call you our teachers and will miss you dearly next year. You can be sure we'll be back to visit often. Thank you.
I've known the students in this class since kindergarten for the most part. We've worked together, we've laughed together, we've grown together. We've watched each other aside from nap time to study hall. We've seen each other grow into mature young adults. And all of the results of these developments are, of course, thanks to our astounding parents. I think I speak for the whole class when I say we owe our thus far successful lives entirely to you all.
Nature versus nurture is a controversial topic when it comes to science, but not in our class. We know that some of us have inherited brown hair or blue eyes from our parents in terms of nature. Of course, a huge part of who we are is due to genes, but our parents instilled in us a small portion of who they are, making us similar to them. Abe Lincoln is an artist like his mother, Nicole is a dancer like her mother, and Benjamin Glazier is a basketball star like his father. The traits that allow for these skills are definitely genetic, but the love for these things are acquired. Our parents sculpt our personalities after themselves, and we wouldn't have it any other way.
Our parents not only played a role in our academic success and in our sports endeavors, but they helped us grow in faith. Needless to say, they enrolled us in a Jewish school. This shows us how much our parents care about us and our Jewish education. They supported us through our various bar and bat mitzvahs, helping us study and prepare. They even paid for and planned parties to celebrate these milestones in our lives. Going above and beyond in terms of Jewish parenting, they sent us to Israel this year. I'm sure I speak for everyone when I say that Israel was the single most spiritual way to learn about our heritage and history. We're so grateful for all the opportunities our parents have provided for us in school on our Judaic knowledge. And though we complain about the workload sometimes, we will always appreciate all the work you've put into our development as young Jews.
We know that parents can't always be our friends, but they're always there to mentor us and help us better ourselves. They're there when we need somebody to talk to or give us advice, and they're there when we need a ride to practice or when it's midnight and there's a huge project due the next day. Not to mention the fact that they feed us and house us, clothe us, and help us grow into what we will be tomorrow. They always cheer us on at all of our sports events and are always listening when we come home after having aced the quiz. Always proud of us, always encouraging us to do even better next time. No matter how badly we feel like we disappoint them, we know that there's nothing we can do that would drive them away.
Parents have been there for us all our lives, whether it's helping with homework or scolding us for not having finished it. Words can't describe how much you've done for us throughout our lives, and we probably don't even know how. Since first grade, when we read our chapter books to you, until now, when we read Shakespeare, you've been there. From numbers to variables, you've been there. From our Chumash party to bar and bat mitzvahs, you've been there. From temper tantrums to, well, more temper tantrums, you've been there. You've always been there, and there's no way we can fully repay you except by taking all the advice and help in making lives for ourselves.
You held our hand as we took our first steps, and now you've cleaned our wounds when we fell. Now we're walking by ourselves, and this graduation ceremony is symbolic of that. We're really glad we got to celebrate this day with you.
Thank you. We'd now like to give you a rose as a token of our appreciation.
I'm doing something tonight that I've never done before at the Hayston Hebrew Academy. I'm repeating an 8th grade chimes piece. It was done a few years ago, and some of the performers that year are siblings and sitting in the audience. It takes a lot of hands, and it's very beautiful. So I figured I wouldn't have another chance for a while.
Dear graduates, there are 18 of you, and the number 18 has special significance in Judaism. Its numerical value, the Chet and Yud, 18, embodies life and the precepts of life itself. More importantly, it is also the number of basic prayer, the Shmoneh Esrei, the 18 blessings or silent devotion, Amidah, is both the cornerstone of all prayer services, Shacharit, Mincha, Ma'ariv, Musaf, and at the same time the paradigm for the way a Jew prays, beginning with Shevach, with praise, then Bakasha, our bequests of God, and finally Oda'ah, thank yous to Hashem. Interestingly, there are two aspects of Shmoneh Esrei that I feel really depict you, this class, and through which I wish to bless you this evening. The first is that even though the words themselves were codified uniformly by Rabban Gamliel de Yavne at the time of the Second Temple, the antecedent for this prayer was in fact Hannah, who prayed silently to Hashem in the tabernacle. So silent was she, her lips were moving but no sound was heard, that Eli thought perhaps she was drunk. Silence is extremely valuable in our very, very noisy world. We're all distracted by the bells and the whistles and all of the noises around us, and rarely do we take the time to think and really reflect. But as a class, this is a quality that I've always admired about you. Whether in humanities and hearing deep Socratic seminars, or whether in Chumash and the projects that you did, and most importantly on the Israel trip, you took time to reflect, and those reflections are so spiritual and so meaningful and so mature that I was always very proud of you with that. And so my blessing to you is that as you move on in your lives, you take time to listen to yourselves think and to enjoy the silence. The second aspect that I'd like to mention is reverence. We're all familiar with the procedural memory that is enhanced in Shmoneh Esrei. We take 3 steps backwards before we bow. We take 3 steps also at the end of the prayer. Many of us don't really know the reason, although we practice it nonetheless. And the reason is reverence. We're standing before a king, and one backs away in reverence before coming forward to the king. And after we've prayed, again, we step back in reverence. Similarly, when you go up to the Aron HaKodesh, to the Holy Ark, people step away. Or when we were at the Kotel, we all saw that many people walk away backwards, again, not wishing to turn their back, actually, on the holy site. We live in a very irreverent world. We live in a world where iconic institutions, whether they're political or even sports, and yes, I was disappointed as a baseball fan to hear the news today, are riddled with scandals, and as well as just controversy and bashing. And so the concept of reverence, appreciating and revering Jewish traditions, the values that you've learned here, are very significant. On the Israel trip, one of the most inspiring moments for me was on Yom HaZikaron. Throughout the day, wherever we were, whether we were in Tel Aviv or in the heat of Har Herzl, going to a cemetery of 1948 soldiers, none of whom you had any personal or possible connection to, or in Yad Vashem, after a very lengthy tour, not only were you engaged, but you were reverent throughout. And it is my bracha to you that you maintain that element of reverence, of prioritization and understanding that there are values that we have to hold near and dear. And so, students, at this time, it will be my pleasure to introduce each of you to receive your diplomas and awards from Mrs. Hamstra. And my way of doing so is to keep you on your toes, as you know, never alphabetically, that's for sure. I'm going to give each one of you a small gift from the school as a memory of our Israel trip. And it is a small Mincha Ma'ariv Sidur, emblazoned with your Hebrew name engraved on it, because that too is something that makes you a very unique class. I recall that earlier in the year at Integration Day, when we talked about It's Greek to Me and American acculturation. What do Jews feel like? Are we Jewish Americans or American Jews? That the subject came up with Rabbi Kritchever, particularly with this class, about the number of Hebrew names. How do you feel about having a strange name when you go out into the world? This is a class that feels intensely proud of their Hebrew names, and so we felt it would be a befitting gift. The first bracha of Shmoneh Esrei is Avot, our patriarchs. We begin by recognizing Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. And one of our students is known for his enormous respect. Respect of parents such as I have rarely seen. If his father or his mother ask him to do anything, he immediately stops and does it without questioning. His love and care for his little sister as he takes her home every day, again, is a little bit of a hint to who I'm talking about. But no matter what, Eitan Al-Kaslasi is a paradigm of respect. And therefore, Eitan, we're going to ask you to come up first.
President's Academic Fitness Gold, Advanced Hebrew Language, Science, Math, National Citizenship Award, and the high school end of course assessment for both algebra and English 10. Congratulations.
The second bracha is Gvurot. Gvurot refers to strength. Ata Gibor referring to God, but the message for ourselves and our lives about what truly constitutes strength. And our next recipient is not only enormously athletic and talented with physical prowess and effort, but more importantly, a Zehu Gibor HaKovesh et Yitzro. Who is the strong one? Somebody who works on his inclination and who works hard at self-control. And our next young gentleman, recipient, is somebody who has worked enormously hard and persevered throughout his years here. And most importantly, has really worked hard to change some habits. And changing a habit is harder than any chin-ups, push-ups, or anything else. Sam Schwartz. Is the bracha Kiddush Hashem, the sanctification of God's name. Being able to sanctify God's name involves tremendous leadership, because one has to do what's right. Your moral compass must be strong at all points. And our next recipient is somebody who could be counted on at all times to do the right thing. Even if it wasn't popular and even if it wasn't expedient, she always did what was right. The leadership that she demonstrated, and again, the respect that she had for the adults and for her peers is something admirable. Chava Bunnis.
Chava, Technology Award, Levin Leadership Award, Presidential Academic Fitness Gold, Art Most Productive, and the high school end of course assessment for algebra.
The Shmoneh Esrei continues, Ata chonen la'adam da'at, that we speak and ask God for knowledge and for intelligence. And our next recipient is not only superior student, conscientious, and receiving every possible academic accolade, but more importantly, she really has the qualities of Bina. Bina in Hebrew refers, it's different than Chachma, different than wisdom. Bina is understanding, extrapolating one thing from another. It is deductive reasoning, critical thinking, depth and meaning of learning. And more importantly, it also is the depiction of Chava, of the original Eve, that Hashem fashioned her from one of Adam's ribs, and uses that word of Vayiven, Bina, because often women will have this very innate, refined, humble quality that goes along with just plain common sense and knowing what to do in any situation gracefully. Our next recipient, Rebecca Brooks.
Midwest Academic Talent Award, Science Award, Math Award, Chumash Award, Letters About Literature, Humanities Award, and the High School End of Course Assessment for both Algebra and English 10.
We continue to the bracha of slicha, or forgiveness. And obviously, I promised the students I would embarrass no one, and so there's nobody here who we have to ask or apologize or anything like this. But when the bracha speaks of tshuva, tshuva is an opportunity, it is a gift that God gives us as if to erase what has happened before. It is a new start. In fact, one is defined as a Baal tshuva, as somebody who truly repents by finding himself in the very same situation in which he once erred and not making the mistake again. Our next recipient is somebody who started her life over again on many levels. She received her Hebrew name at Matzada when we were on our Israel trip, but more importantly, again, she started this school first in 7th grade, and through her enormous perseverance in every class, Judaic and General Studies, has really, really improved and mostly has been an important contributing dynamic to her class through her grace and dignity. Speak of Nicole Sanders.
National Physical Fitness, Presidential Academic Fitness is silver, and art is grace.
The next bracha is the bracha of Geulah, or redemption. And to me, redemption represents a yearning for the future, looking beyond to the next stage. It reflects and depicts maturity and a mindset. And our next recipient is somebody who, as she herself described, has had different adversities and challenges and has met and overcome them. And in her beauty, in her grace, in her maturity, and especially depicted through her art, Brianna Kelso is our next awardee.
Brianna, most improved science, and art most creative.
We continue to what is called Birkat HaShanim, or the blessing of the years. And in this case, it refers specifically, for me, homiletically, to this year. As mentioned, there was a student who begged her parents to come to this school, willing to transfer and leave the ease of not having as much homework, not having the challenging curriculums, but she wanted to be a part of Jewish education. She valued that, and not only was able to convince her parents for herself, but her sister as well, and that is something unique and special. When I speak of Maya Geller Montague, I think once again, what comes to mind for me, Birkat HaShanim, making the most of time, appreciating every minute. So it's not only the beautiful smile and the energy that she brings to a class, but that blessing of Limnot Yameinu Kein Hodah, never to waste time and to appreciate every opportunity that we're given in life. I stand in awe of you, Maya, that you made this choice.
Music award, even beyond school, Hebrew language, and the high school end of course assessment for algebra.
Our next awardee is Kibbutz Galuyot. Kibbutz Galuyot refers to the ingathering of exiles. And so you may wonder, even on my out-of-the-box mind, who refers to the ingathering of exiles? But in fact, we have a student who has traveled the world has had many, many unique, experiential, enriching experiences in his life, has photographed many of them to share, but mostly, I think Kibbutz Galiot, the incoming of all exiles, is a reference to the diversity amongst the Jewish people. Utzka b'shofar gadol, there'll be a great shofar, and we will all be gathered together. Openness, non-judgmental, wanting to see and appreciate the uniqueness within everybody in the Jewish community and mankind generally. Tal Rachel.
Tall, community service, art, most imaginative, and the high school end-of-course assessment for algebra.
The next bracha, Hashiva Shovtenu, again a reference to leadership and the restoration of our judges. But in the description of the judges, and all of us have noted, every teacher, everybody has made comments about the students' keen sense of justice and knowing and wanting to understand, to split hairs about the differences between right and wrong. On the other hand, the bracha continues and discusses Hashem as Rachamim, as compassionate. And this student also not only always champions the underdog, but is very, very sensitive and compassionate. And I've been very proud of him for that quality. Jonah Katz.
National Fitness, Community Service, Presidential Academic Fitness Goal, and the high school end-of-course assessment for both Algebra and English 10.
There are really 19 brachot in the Shemona Esrei. The 19th was added later, a reference to those who, so to speak, were snitches and tattling, but mostly it's to reflect for our values upon pettiness and looking not to destroy or harm another person. We don't gain by knocking down somebody else. And while it seemed that that would be the natural bracha to skip if I only needed 18, and clearly none of our students have that particular mitzvah of being a snitch, yet there's one student who to me has always been tremendously sensitive to the pulse of his peers and wanting, or literally wanting what is best for everybody, and not to have dissension, not to have strife, not to have infighting, so to speak, amongst his group. So interested was he in this topic that he chose for his final Judaic Chumash project to do something about Jewish civil war and the cases within of that, of Aviv Lincoln.
The Midwest Talent, Math Award, Chumash Award, Art, most artistic, and the high school end-of-course assessment for algebra.
Shemona Esrei continues, Al HaTzadikim, prayers for the righteous and for those who stand up, Mishanu Liftach LaTzadikim, those who stand up for righteous causes and who are willing to be independent, even in a world, again, where something is not popular. And our next student is someone who, again, I always call him my gentleman and scholar, but the gentleman part is first. Not only because of his sensitivity and respect to everybody around him, but importantly because, again, he embodies those precepts of sensitivity and compassion for animals as well as for every wonderful righteous cause. Aaron Garrett.
Aaron, National Physical Fitness Award, Presidential Academic Fitness Gold, Midwest Talent, National Citizenship Award, Humanities Award, Letters About Literature, and both the high school in-course assessment for algebra and English 10.
Our next recipient comes courtesy of the Israel trip. There was a student who often would share his reflections. We would talk about different things. And our first part of the trip was to the northern part, was to the Galil, at Tzfat. And we saw and went to the holy Kabbalistic sites in Tzfat, to the Beit Knesset HaAri. And the students were talking about feeling spiritual in Israel. And this student said, you know, I don't think I'm going to feel it until we get to Jerusalem. B'li Yerushalayim ircha b'rachamim tashu. He, as far as I know, lived some part of his life in the city of Jerusalem. And what I think is so unique about Yonatan Rose is, in fact, that just as Jews pray east in the United States and look towards Yerushalayim as our anchor, Yonatan has goals and aspirations and is truly anchored with Yerushalayim as the focal point. Yonatan Rose.
National Physical Fitness, Advanced Judaics, Art Award Most Improved, Advanced Hebrew Language, Presidential Academic Fitness Gold, and both the high school end-of-course assessment for algebra and English 10.
The next bracha, Matzmiach Keren Yeshua, the flourishment, looking again to leadership from the family and the house of David. And while I don't know that this student necessarily is a direct descendant of David, in fact, again, the leadership qualities and the flourishment, growing, the trajectory of maturity, the opportunities of spirituality that he has grown over the last 3 years are tremendous and are inspiring in their own way. Arik Taiki is a very confident young man, but importantly, Arik, my bracha to you is that you understand and appreciate those great qualities that you have, not become swell-headed over them, of course, but importantly realize your potential, because you have the potential to be a great Jewish leader. Menachem Zeh.
Presidential Academic Fitness Gold, National Physical Fitness, Advanced Judaics, Talmud Award, Math Award, and both the high school end-of-course assessment for algebra and English 10.
The bracha of Shemona Esrei, which allows one to insert their own personal prayers, is the bracha of Shema Kolenu, asking God to hear our prayers in whatever language, in whatever we're wearing. None of that is important. What is important is our direct communication with God and feeling that special connection. Again, particularly on the Israel trip, but throughout this year, Zeya Pekula has been my living inspired. Whenever there was an opportunity for a Dvar Torah, Zeya's the one who volunteered for it. She grew and sensed literally the spirituality of Israel on our trip. Zeya Pekula. Zeya is receiving an award that is new to this school. It is called the Bat Aliyah Award, when one, again, grows and matures spiritually, emotionally, as well as a reflection of her academic progress.
Additional awards, Presidential Academic Fitness, and the high school end-of-course assessment for algebra.
The next bracha refers to the avodah, the bracha of avodah. Avodah in Hebrew means both worship, Avodah Shebalev, worship of the heart, prayer, and this young woman, every morning in Israel, no matter how early, was always where she needed to be and always participating in tefillah. It also refers to work, to hard work. She is enormously conscientious, and there's a depth, a special, unique depth, a maturity and a perception in her comments, in her insights, and I've enjoyed very much teaching her personally and the Israel trip with her. Michaela McCassin.
Hebrew Language Award, Presidential Academic Fitness Goal, Humanities Award, and the high school end of course assessment for both algebra and English 10.
We're familiar with one of the places of bowing in the Shemona Esrei is the bracha of modim, of hoda'ah, of expressing thank you and appreciation for all the miracles, large and small, daily miracles, physical miracles, spiritual miracles, collective, personal miracles. And our next student is somebody, again, who, in his quiet way, in a very, very different way, expresses appreciation. More importantly, he understands priorities and realizing that everything that we have in life is not handed to us on a silver platter, and that we need to work hard for them and appreciate our families and the opportunities that we've been given. When we were on the Israel trip, on Yom HaAtzmaut itself, we found ourselves in Ir David, in the old city, going to see the city of David. And this young man asked, can we please go to the Kotel? He understood that you can't be in Yerushalayim, particularly on Yom HaAtzmaut, and not go to the Kotel. And when we gave the opportunity, of course, for the students to go, he came over and said, thank you, Benjamin Glazier.
The Parsha Award, the Hebrew Language Award, Presidential Academic Fitness Gold, and the high school end of course assessment for algebra.
Our next award is the bracha that is only, obviously, being able to be said by some under certain circumstances in the Shemona Esrei, and it is Birkat Kohanim, the blessing of the priests. So yeah, everybody knows now that it's Ari, but Jonah is also a Kohen. But a few very important things about that bracha. The blessing for peace is one that is described as Ein Kli Machzik Bracha Ela HaShalom. That the wrapping paper for all blessings that we have in our lives, all blessings must stem from peace. And when I think of Ari, amongst the many wonderful qualities I think of, so to speak, is the presentation, the wrapping paper. Every part of him, whether it is musical talent, athletic talent, reading, writing, conversation, depth, in any subject in the world, he has this enormous talent. But Ari, more importantly, you have the unique opportunity to bless others, to see the good, the Hayei Bracha, to see the glass is half full when the world sees it as half empty. You can bless others. And it is my bracha to you, Ari, that you always have those opportunities to come to bring us together as a source of bracha and seeing the good in all situations.
Presidential Academic Fitness Gold, letters about literature, and both high school end of course assessments for algebra and English 10.
Well, that chance, no more surprises as to our last recipient. I mentioned at the dinner that if anybody could bring peace to the Middle East, it would be Maya Harris. As she describes herself, she is a complex person. She is enormously deep. She is an idealist. She, again, embodies such an inquisitive mind, but she is not afraid to ask, be a free thinker, be independent, and in her humility always seeks compromise. Maya, at perhaps the parak that you studied in Navi with Mr. Edry this week, or this year, I'm sorry, includes the fact that when David sent messengers to Nabal, he said to him, "Va'amartem kol lachai, ata shalom ubeitcha shalom, v'chol asher lacha shalom." And to you I wish peace, to your families I wish peace, and to everyone and everything that you have, I wish peace. Maya, it is our pleasure for you to be the final recipient and awardee this evening. Maya Harris.
Presidential Academic Fitness Gold, our Woman of Valor. The Chumash Award, the Hebrew Language Award, the Humanities Award, and both the high school end-of-course assessments for Algebra and English 10 levels.
As our parents, teachers, and peers gather to watch us graduate this evening, they see us coming to a close on this chapter of our lives. But this isn't necessarily the case.
Graduation is the beginning, not the end. It is the beginning of a new chapter, and we should face and embrace it with as much enthusiasm as we can muster. This is how we should approach our upcoming years in high school and the rest of our lives. We should use this enthusiasm as a barrier to keep us from losing sight of our goals. Never giving up is so vitally essential because there will be obstacles that we have to overcome. These difficulties will appear to us at various times and places. We cannot be blindsided when they sneak up on us, and we will all have to resist any thoughts of surrendering to these obstacles. We have to push through them and continue to travel along our various paths. While sometimes we are tempted to give up, there are a couple of ways to avoid this unfortunately common mistake. We can use our faith to pull us through, and we can use our faith to see the light hovering in the seemingly endless darkness. Our family and friends can also help us pull through tough times. They support us and our futures and encourage us to continue. These figures in our lives give us the potential to fight through, and we must not take this for granted. We have learned these three things with the help of the Hastings Hebrew Academy, that the help of friends, faith, and family are always essential. All of us have struggled before during our time at this school, and that has helped us learn the value of these parts. We can and should seek help from these by listening to the advice given to us. With the help of these three facets, we will be able to fight through any problems that we may encounter, and there's no way we will fall subject to temptation.
I wish all of my classmates the best of luck and success for never giving up, and will remember the effort it made to succeed.
Thank you.
And now it is my pleasure to introduce you to the Hastings Hebrew Academy class of 2013.